I understand you play Jimmy Smits at a young age.
Yeah, the young Jimmy Smits, young Arturo, in his heyday, the boxing career.
Now you get to do all the boxing at that.
I did all the boxing for Jimmy, made him look good. You know?
Are you a boxer in real life?
I wasn't a boxer, no. They trained me for that. It took a few weeks. Actually, they wanted longer to train. They wanted a couple of months because it was a lot of intense training and stuff. But because of other jobs and negotiations and stuff, I only had like 3 weeks. But did fairly well. Caught on quick. They had excellent trainers and stuff, and so it worked out.
What made you want to do this role?
What made me want to do it? He said, you'd be playing the young Jimmy Smits. Good enough. I'm there.
That's not intimidating for you?
No, I totally accept the challenge. I've watched Jimmy Smits since he was, back in his early film days with Running Scared to Ávila to NYPD Blue. I admire him, so man, it was an excellent opportunity.
Did you learn anything from him in terms of an actor while you were shooting?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to work with him. We played the same character. I only met him on a couple of occasions, but just that he's been in the business for so long and is still so completely grounded and such a cool human being. So if I can maintain that the way he has, that'd be good enough.
What brings you out here tonight?
Clifton is a friend of mine, so I want to come support him, and I like Jimmy Smits, so it looks like a good movie.
Can you believe all the boxing movies that have been coming out lately? There's like The Hurricane.
Well, you got to see a good movie since boxing itself is such a sham. I think I'd rather see a movie that I know is staged than pay a bunch of money to see something and find out that it was staged. Did I say that? Oh my God!
So you don't watch boxing? You don't put out the $40 for the pay-per-view, or you don't go there?
I've just been really disappointed with the last few fights. It just feels like, and you know what? I'm not an avid sports fan, so I can't really say. But the last couple things that I've seen just seemed so orchestrated. I was very disappointed.
It's all right. Well, maybe you can change that.
Yeah, poor me. Oh.
Now, who do you play in the movie?
David Lane. I play the villain. I'm the one you hate. I'm the one you want to see go down.
Why is he the one you want to hate?
Who's the villain?
No, I mean, what makes him a villain?
I guess it would be surmised looking at the guy's character, kind of a character thing. He's dark and he's selfish, but he's definitely a personality. You love to hate him. Hopefully, we don't want out and out hate, a little love.
Do you hurt Jimmy Smits in the movie?
No, I don't hurt Jimmy Smits, but I hurt all his sons.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to corrupt him in the movie?
Oh no, I just beat him up in the ring.
Oh, wonderful. Now, how was it working on the movie and working with Jimmy and all these young actors?
Fantastic. Great cast, great script. I'm a boxing fan, so ultimately it's a wonderfully written story about a family through the eyes of boxing. So, and Jimmy Smits, of course, is wonderful. Got me a couple of times, I told him, so.
Now, what about this script said that you had to make this movie?
I think seeing the complexity in which Latino characters were portrayed, and I think the fact that it's an action movie, so it's got all the boxing in it, but it also has wonderfully complex Latino characters, and it tells, I think, ultimately a story of, that's inspiring, but it's not corny. I mean, all the victories in this movie are won and fought for, and so there's a lot of resonance in there for me. So I love the story, and I think we did a good job with it.
Tell me about your cast. That's quite a cast you got there.
It's first class. I really was trying to bring some fresh faces. All these actors have worked, and I think are well known, to television audiences. But to put them together in the same movie was great. Jimmy Smits, fantastic. John Cedeño, fantastic. Paul Rodriguez, is I think so surprising in this role. I think people, are just, shocked by seeing Paul do this kind of a performance, but he really does a fantastic job for us.
What was harder to direct, the scenes where there's physical fighting or the scenes where there's emotional, real heart-wrenching things going on?
They were both challenging. We had a very short amount of time to shoot the boxing, so it was run and gun. We were shooting very, very quickly. And I guess, as a consequence of the shooting schedule, the dramatic scenes were sometimes, quickly shot. But we understood each other, that the cast knew what the material was. We had talked extensively before we got out there, and so I think the performances are very, are first rate.
Who do you play?
Promoter. Like Don King, kind of promoter. Guy who puts together big prize fighters for big money.
Are you a nice guy promoter or a mean guy promoter?
I'm a serious guy. I like money, and I like, I like the fight game.
So you don't get
neither good or bad.
Okay. Okay, so you don't get to do any actual fighting yourself?
No,
Maybe verbally?
not fist fighting.
Oh, not fist fighting. Are you a big boxing fan?
Big, huge.
Who are some of your favorites?
My favorite, well, Muhammad Ali, of course, is giant of the 20th century, and then the great fighters are Rocky Marciano, Sugar Ray Leonard, Love. I like Oscar a lot. I like Oscar De La Hoya, and I love Hagler. A lot of guys.
I understand this is a very tear-jerking, heart-tugging drama about family and sacrifice. What are some of the sacrifices that have been made to get you where you are?
Wow. You know, I'm so stubborn that there are very few sacrifices that I make along the way. I insist on having my time and time for my family and my friends, and you know, if my career suffers for it, that's okay. My family is more important, which is actually very important in this film.
Is this true?
Funny enough, absolutely.
It's nice to see you on a movie poster again. What was it particularly about this character that told you you had to play him?
He was like, he's rough around the edges. He's like an anti-hero as opposed to like these heroic guys that I've done, especially on TV. And he doesn't have it all together all the time. And it all comes out of love. What he does for his kids is from his point of view. He loves his kids. He wants to try to reach the dreams that he could never attain through his young ones. But he's not always successful in achieving that. So it was good.
What did this film teach you particularly about family?
About family? It didn't, I don't know if it taught me so much as reinforced what I feel and what I try to kind of live by with my young ones, and that's to, you have to give your youth space to make mistakes, but at the same time to be there for them and be supportive without imposing on them. It's a fine line to walk.
What kind of sacrifices were made for you to get you where you are today, either by people in your family or people that are close to you?
Sacrifices. You know, I share one thing with this character because I had a family when I was fairly young myself, and there were times when education has always been a big thing that was stressed in my family, and there were times when, because I was a young dad, I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue that educational dream because I did have a responsibility to the family. So, you know, on any given day, there were things that happened that, without getting the violin case out, you know. But everything was for the best. I got my education, my family's fine, they got their education.